have a change. Not only can they change for North Dakota and put people before politics, I'll tell you how many times I heard them talk of health care. The idea that they had called their congressman day after day asking where he would stand. And he said he was undecided up until the day and he voted for it. I even had one person that said they were with him just a couple days ago and asked him about the health care, and he said, oh, that was a bad bill. Well, the idea, he voted for a bad bill and admits it. But what does that do to the rest of those in North Dakota? He chose politics over people. That's why we can make a fundamental change. We could direct this federal government, reform it, put it on the right path of job creation, just what the leader, Rick Berg, has done in the state assembly here, but also get government under control in our spending. Because I believe in the next 4 years is our only chance. We are on the path of Greece. The only other time we've had debt this high is during World War II. Now that was a fundamentally different war. That was a war about saving this world. That was the war about freedom. Well, today we're borrowing the money just about curtailing and keeping a welfare state. That is not the direction for the next generation. Behind us we have some young guys. And these are people that care about their country. But you know what? This could be the first generation that doesn't have the same opportunities to do better than the generation before them. But I will tell you, this country always rises to the occasion. And we have that opportunity in Rick Berg. And so that's why, for one, I'm here today to listen to those small businesses across this country, but also look what we've done in North Dakota, we need to do to Washington. Bring that common sense North Dakota ideas and put this country back on the right track. So I thank you for turning out today.
Any questions that people have?
Can you talk a little
Sure.
bit more about the importance of passing a budget and maybe any idea of why it wasn't done and how it will affect?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, in North Dakota, we passed a 2-year budget. We have 80 days to do it. Our cities pass budgets. Everyone passes a budget. Every business that's in business has a plan for the next year. From my perspective, I think the reason not to do a budget is they don't want people to see how big a deficit they're dealing with. And quite frankly, how can you deal with it? How can you balance a budget if you don't have a budget? And so again, it's a short-term fix, and the short term has got this uncertainty really throughout our economy. That's a problem.
The thing you find, who owns our debt? You know, China is the largest foreign entity that owns 11% of our debt. Well, they have fundamentally different power when that comes to fruition. And when you're in a major crisis, just like your own household, you've got to have a budget to understand where you're wasting. Now, the other part that you have that Rick talked about that we listened and heard today from, if somebody has an investment and they're wondering whether they make an investment in the future, they want to know what the future holds. Well, if the federal government doesn't lay out a budget, you don't know if we're going to curtail this federal deficit. You don't know what's going to hold in the future. You don't know what taxes are going to happen. You don't know where cap and trade's going to go. So if you look back and you talk about the fundamental rights of having a budget, I can give you quote after quote from one, Steny Hoyer, number two. He said the fundamental reason, or the fundamental role of a majority party is to pass a budget. That if you can't pass a budget, you cannot lead. That comes from the budget chairman, and Spratt, inside Congress. Well, you're neglecting moving this country forward. And if you want to create jobs, you lay out where the next 5 years will go. People can see the path, people will make the investment, and we'll come back stronger. So you're missing the one sign of leadership to the sign of moving this country back on the right track. And that's the fundamental difference. Because the same problem faced states across this country. But when it faced Rick Berg as leader, what did he do? He didn't say, oh, it's a tough time, let's not do it. You put everybody on the table, you bring everybody together, and you prioritize. These are our priorities, but at the same time, it's a tough time now, and we might have to make tough decisions, but tomorrow will be better and stronger. And that's why Newsweek is writing about North Dakota today.